Well, you know what Tom Coughlin said? If you're 15 minutes early, you're late. So
That's true. All right, Fish. So we're waiting for the hard line here, but let's talk about some takeaways from the NFL weekend. What do you got?
quick. Last week I bagged on old men, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers pooping the bed, and they really stood up. If you watch the game in Germany, Tom Brady's always spot on. And Aaron Rodgers, I mean, their season's on the brink. They're down 28-14 to the Cowboys. And one of their rookie receivers, Christian Watson, really stood up, and great comeback by Green Bay. Second thing that I took away from is this catch. You remember Odell Beckham's catch?
As we welcome you to Orchard Park with 2 minutes left in a 4-point game. Kirk Cousins back to throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs the ladder. Oh, my goodness! Justin Jefferson pulled it in. The catch of his life. But we got to look back at this.
How does he maintain possession all the way through, not allow that ball to hit the ground, and he just steals it from Cam Lewis.
Foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 47. That's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Justin Jefferson.
So is that the catch of the day? Yes. Catch of the year, maybe?
Well, yeah, that's my second thing. Okay, catch of the year. Okay, my third thing. We saw two of the best games yesterday with the comeback with Green Bay and Dallas. And you're texting me, Buffalo and Minnesota might be the best game I've seen in years. It's not named Buffalo and Kansas City in a playoff game.
Yeah,
so
close to it.
That was my three things.
There's Hardline. Hardline is in with us. Hardline. We're talking about the great game between the Vikings and the Bills yesterday. So welcome to the show, and we'll introduce everybody in a little bit. So what's your next take there, Fish? You got that, and what's your next one?
That was it. I said the first one was that the old men came to play. Second one was that catch. The third one is we saw two of the greatest games this season yesterday. One in the morning here in Las Vegas at 10 o'clock time, and then the afternoon game. Other than that, you know, everything's out. The cream is starting to rise to the top in Week 10. See the teams that they're going to start making their runs. Keep an eye on the 49ers, gentlemen. Just keep an eye. They're getting healthy. Keep an eye.
It's a good point. Really good point. All right, Hardline, what are your three takeaways from yesterday's games or this weekend games?
Well, three takeaways would be Buffalo has some questions going on forward. I know you guys hinted on that. I don't know if it's Josh Allen's elbow, which I know has been kind of a situation moving forward. But one thing that definitely has to change is a little bit of his decision-making. I mean, you know, when he's getting into the red zone, he's making decisions that he normally hasn't made before, maybe trying to force a couple things, which have caused turnovers in the last two games. And right now, gentlemen, you know, look, the AFC East is a very tight division. It's very, very small margin of error that you can make. You've got three teams sitting at top that either one could win and either one can make a deep playoff run, where we're talking about the Dolphins, the Jets, or the Bills. So it's not as guaranteed as the beginning of the season where we thought the Bills were just going to run away with the division and make an AFC championship game. I mean, right now you're looking at Miami, and they've got one receiver that's got 1,100 yards as of yesterday, after the end of the game yesterday, and one receiver that's on his way to another 1,000 yards. And we're talking about this is happening from a quarterback that we all thought might be replaced before the start of the season even began. So, you know, kudos to that.
A really good point, Hardline, is I think all four teams in the AFC East, if the playoffs began today, all four of them would be in it.
Yeah, you know, it's no longer, you know, the Patriots and everyone else. So it's a changing of the guard to a certain degree. My second biggest takeaway is kudos to the Lions on back-to-back wins. You know, Dan Campbell was on the hot seat for a little while. He's still on the seat a little bit, but you know, a win against Green Bay and a win against the rising Chicago Bears right now, especially in your division, goes a long way to keeping your job. You know, we'll talk about them playing the Giants later on the show today, but there's a lot of belief. I mean, they've made some changes that need to happen. Do I think that Jared Goff is going to stay later on? I'm not sure, but for a team that's missing its first-round draft pick and Jameson Williams that they moved up to get, and a couple other pieces, you know, they're starting to finally get a little bit healthy. And kudos to Jamal Williams. Right now, I think he's top 5 in rushing TDs in the league, which is something you normally don't hear a Detroit Lions running back to say. The last thing, and I know, Fish, it's going to break your heart. I watched that post-game press conference yesterday with Derek Carr, and, Daly texted me. And to me, I said there's 2 things that are either going to happen, and I think it's very apparent. Either Derek Carr knows he's going to be replaced, and I think if you're going to sacrifice the season to try and move up in the draft to get the quarterback you think might be the franchise, maybe you start playing your backups with the hopes that you can keep Derek Carr healthy to trade him, or they're really coming for Josh McDaniels, and he's going to be out probably sooner rather than later. I would think that McDaniels probably stays because it's an easier sell to the fans that maybe this just wasn't his team and he came over and took over something. But you've had Derek Carr there for a number of years, and it's been the same result. And the fact that he said, and to paraphrase, because I'm not going to quote verbatim, is the fact that he's like, they've had way more success than I've ever had in my career, the 2 men that are leading this locker room. And that's very apparent to me and very transparent as a quarterback when you come out and you make that statement. I think that that's a statement that you make when somebody's maybe told you, hey, going forward throughout the rest of the season, you may not be the starter.
Fish, what do you think on that? You agree with that?
But Carr?
Yeah.
I got nothing. I promised Gabriel Ellis I would say nothing bad about the Raiders. But what he just said, first of all, you can't trade him. He's got no trade clause. He's not giving it up, he said. First of all, if you watch his press conference, all right, he threw people under the bus. He never takes accountability. He's not Josh Allen that says, I suck. I got to play. Okay? Josh McDaniels cannot coach. It's obvious that it's got to be an explosion. If you want me to talk bad about the Raiders, I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but it always starts at the top. We have the most losses in the league. I say this every time for the last 12 years. I don't judge owners. They could be assholes like Daniel Snyder maybe, or Jerry Jones might be a little, indifferent because he's a great man, Mark Davis. I judge him by wins and losses. Carr is 19 games 500. It's not the reason. Hardline. I want to get off there. I want to get to Daly's takes. The Raiders are last. First time in the history of the NFL. They're last in every defensive category. A fucking guy at a high school called plays named Parks. He's never called plays in a game before, ever, at any level. Yeah. And the Colts had 440 yards offense on that Raider defense. Carr was 24 out of 37 for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he suffered. It's not all his fault. You cannot win with the last-ranked defense every year. Sorry.
Yep. All right. Let me give you my 3 takeaways here. Vikings, Bills. Again, I think it was the best game of the season so far. Gutty battle, both sides. I thought what was interesting in Fish when you showed that the video of Justin Jefferson making that incredible catch. Cam Lewis, good defensive back. I mean, he was in great position. I think that Cam Lewis actually helped him hold on to the ball. If you look at it, the one hand, and then Cam's hands are underneath that. I actually think that it actually helped him hold on to it to make that great catch, even though he was trying to do the interception. And I agree with you, Hardline. I think both Josh Allen, I think Kirk Cousins, at times in really important times of the game, both of them, either Cousins was tripping over someone's feet or, Josh Allen was fumbling on the 1-inch line, that was unbelievable. Go ahead, Fish.
Well, I'm doing a moratorium. Josh Allen just lost his MVP bid with that game. You can't, But the fact that the pundits in this morning are saying that Justin Fields is having a better season than Kirk Cousins, I can't listen to them. I'm done. I'm boycotting all the morning shows, all right? Kirk Cousins had a great second half. They're 8-1. Justin Fields hasn't thrown the fucking ball for more than – it's a great runner. He hasn't thrown for more than 171 yards in any game. That being said, I want to take your time. These are my 3 top MVP candidates right now. Don't laugh. Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts. That's simple,
Nice.
Yep. No, that's not bad. I'm just gonna say this because I don't want to stop Daly. Is Fish, you got to understand the organization that Justin Fields plays for. No matter how good of a quarterback they have, they try to rein that quarterback in and be a run-heavy offense. So the fact that he's doing what he's doing, and look, we talked about this a few weeks ago where I thought Justin Fields, if they let him loose, would be better than what a lot of people have thought. And the last 2 weeks, even though they've lost, that's what you want from the first-round pick quarterback that you got. You can build on that. But what you got the first half of the year, real questionable.
All right, let me just
can't throw. He threw two picks. He threw a pick six. They're up 24-17. You watch the game. I'm rooting for I love the Lions. I love Dan Campbell. I love Jerry Goff. Daly, sorry, I do. Look at the injuries those guys have. The Lions. Daly, go ahead. I want to hear your three things, and we'll get back.
Okay. Well, the end of my take was I actually think the Vikings are legit. I don't think I was giving them a lot of legitimacy up until it, but watching them yesterday, I think they're a legit contender. Obviously, their record shows it. The Bucs and the Seahawks, you guys touched on that. Brady's back. What I thought was interesting was that the Bucs defense was there, and Rachaad White. What a great addition! I mean, Leonard Fournette could be out for the season. We don't know yet. He's got a hip problem. What a great addition, or just jumping into the fray finally and really controlling that. That's what really helped Brady. I thought Brady was good, and I've said this all season long when everybody was knocking him. I still think his footwork is good. His arm is still good. I'm still a little Aaron Rodgers. His footwork doesn't look right to me. He doesn't look right throwing the ball, even though he did win yesterday and he did bring him back. So anyway, that Browns, forget it. So my question to you guys is on the Browns, Deshaun Watson starts practicing today, and he could be playing the first of the month. Do you think the Browns bring him in as the starting quarterback in early December?
I'll go first. Let me get their game. They're playing this week. They are playing a tough team. Cleveland's playing Buffalo and Buffalo. That's a loss. That means they're going to be 3-8. And then Thanksgiving weekend, Cleveland plays. I just had them on here.
Lions.
They have a bye week on Thanksgiving. No, I'm sorry. They play Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay. They're 3-9. So when Deshaun Watson comes back, it's going to be irrelevant. It's 9 losses in that conference. One of you guys said, Daly, that 4 teams right now from the AFC East can make the playoffs. You have to have a winning record. They can't be 8-9. So does Deshaun Watson play? Yeah, they want to sell tickets. He's a story.
Yeah. All right.
I just think, you know what? If you're the Cleveland Browns organization, I think that you start Deshaun Watson. I think you try to get all the booze, all the jars out right now. The season's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to make the playoffs. Go ahead, get everything out right now. Let people get their emotions out, whether they like them, dislike them, however they feel. Ride that out so that next season when you start back, I'm not going to say it's a clean slate, but it's a better situation than you have moving forward. And Fish, I would counter that and say I would not necessarily give Buffalo that win when they go to Buffalo, because I thought clearly Buffalo at home would beat the Vikings. And, there's no guarantees in this game.
There's no guarantees, but the Vikings are 7-1 and have some quality wins. Cleveland's defense is ranked 30th. Buffalo's going to have to get right. Okay, Josh Allen lost that game. I mean, I don't think Jacoby Brissett's going to throw the ball like Kirk Cousins did. I don't.
Yeah. Nope, I agree. All right, folks, welcome to Daily Fish, coming to you from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. And I'm John Daly. He is Eric Fish Snyder, and we have the hard line, John Hardison, from the Cost of Winning podcast and all of his great sports betting advice. We'll have that certainly coming up in the rest of the show. Got questions or comments? Drop them in the chat box or email us at dailyfish1, the number 1, dailyfish1@gmail.com. All right. Is it time now to punt on any coaches or quarterbacks? I know we kind of touched on that a little. Do you think there's time? I mean, obviously the Colts have already done that. Do you think?
He made a great point, Hardline. Is a coach sexier than the quarterback? Yes, but there's huge chatter that McDaniels lost that locker room. So you bring in a rookie quarterback in a market that's already losing people. There's empty seats in that house. So you're going to choose a coach sometimes over a quarterback if the coach shows signs of the team playing competitive and doing. The Raiders are Einstein. What did Einstein say? Was it Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? I think I don't know. I mean, that's one example. What about you, Harlan? I can't think of any other examples where the coach and the quarterback are going at it right now. Maybe Carolina, but Steve Wilkes is an interim.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Carolina, you if they did hire Steve Wilkes, it wouldn't be a knock. And if they let him go, I wouldn't be surprised. Saturday made a strong case the other day in terms of punting on the coaches, because there's always someone on the hot seat. We already talked about the first one. The one I was think of would be Nathaniel Hackett, honestly. I mean, that is one with their situation right there for as much money as they owe Russell Wilson moving forward. He could definitely be out after one season. It has not gone very well for what they thought. Their pass game is atrocious. Their run game is atrocious. The only thing that's been pretty good is a defense. I keep this name out there right now, and I know he's been around the league a lot. He gets to the Super Bowl. He doesn't do very well. I would not be surprised because he is. I don't know if he's an offensive coordinator or offensive specialist. John Fox getting another shot. I mean, what he did with the Colts yesterday was pretty impressive. When you took a guy that barely practiced all week and he ran off a 40-yard run and being in late 30s. He's good. He's a good offensive guy. He's a good offensive mind. Yeah, he doesn't win the big games, but he can at least get you over 8 to 9 wins a season.
John Fox runs the defense with Gus Bradley. All right.
There you go.
I'm not going to throw under the bus, but he wasn't even in the stadium yesterday, so he had some personal stuff going on. I don't like that. I'll tell you another one I do like, and you'll agree with me. You want to talk? Billy brings up a great topic here. Punt on coaches and quarterbacks. Keep an eye on Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. That's one where the team will choose a quarterback over the coach. I guarantee. I
would have said it was a definite, except that the Cardinals won this past week.
Let me ask you this, guys. Let me ask you this, Daly and Harlan, real quick. It's right. A lot of pundits, man, were they brutal. Dan Orlovsky, Rex Ryan, Bill Cowher was in tears, calling it a disgrace that Jeff Saturday is a head coach. How the fuck did he do yesterday? He let his coaches coach. Those players are going crazy. They played their best game of the season. He tells everyone, including the Raiders, and they admitted it, that Sam Ellinger is going to start, and he starts Ryan. And that idiot McDaniel said, well, we didn't prepare for Matt Ryan. So how bad does Saturday do? Why can't people get a chance?
I don't think it's necessarily
Saturday goes 7-1 the rest of the season. Does he get the job next year? Yes.
I mean, it's a strong possibility, but I think the reality is, and look, we've gone over this a bunch of times in terms of the fact that Irsay didn't. It's a loop within the coaching hiring process, and that's kind of the situation in which we're going to right now. Is there's a lot of guys that are qualified. Is it even worth them taking the interview next year if you're going to say Jeff Saturday is already my guy and you're not interviewing anybody? Yes, he's got the interim tag, so you didn't have to go through the normal hiring processes of the Rooney Rule, but you've got a bunch of other guys out there that have had coaching experience, have coached at this different level, have been coordinators, control guys, assistants. Are you saying that, and it's not a knock against Jeff Saturday, it's not. Obviously, he won yesterday. Are you saying that even after the years that they've put in terms of being qualified, that still doesn't make them better, if not on the same par as someone who only coached a high school football team? And I'm not saying that the man doesn't know football. You don't become an all-pro and you don't win a Super Bowl not knowing football. But that's, the question on that side of the ball.
And I would agree with you on that. And
Daly knows it. Lombardi said, I don't coach.
Yeah. Well, and you hear a lot of other coaches, though, today are talking
Lombardi
about,
made a great point.
Where I'm not going to be with my kids. I'm going to lose my life because all I'm doing is I'm coaching. And then this guy just literally walks in off an ESPN set and he becomes a coach. On the other hand, look what he did. Next week, they play the Eagles, who at this point are undefeated. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. If he beats the Eagles next week, that's incredible. Yeah. So we'll figure that out.
I think yesterday he played the worst team in the National Football League. Houston has more heart. Real quick, Daly. Lombardi had a great quote. He goes, I'm not a coach. He goes, and Landry quoted him on this, and Beck and Parcells. I'm a leader of men. And Jeff Saturday is a leader of men. Rich Bisaccia, real quick, the Raiders interim coach, he's a special teams coach. He never had head coaching, but he's a leader of men. They went to him, and the Raiders rallied around that. Sometimes you need that figure in there, and obviously Frank Reich wasn't.
And they went to the playoffs last year. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, next topic here. The NBA and anti-Semitism. Kyrie Irving is still not allowed to play due to his promotion of an anti-Semitic film. He says he has apologized, but no one really knows when he's coming back. What's your take on this? Go ahead, Fish.
Well, he has. He's a tough boy. I'll tell you what. You guys watch Saturday Night Live. Did you see Dave Chappelle's monologue this past week? Either one of you?
I missed it.
No, I didn't get to.
All Oh my God, he went after Yee, he went after Trump, he went after Kyrie, he went after everybody. I don't know. I don't really have a take on this because if he says he apologized, is he sincere? He didn't apologize until he hit his pocketbook, so that makes a lot of people, a little weary of it. But I don't know. I mean, the guy wouldn't take the vaccine, so he couldn't go on the road last year. He's the earth is flat. He thinks Kim Kardashian, the Kardashians have talent. I don't know.
Hardline, what's your take?
You know what? It's a really dicey situation, and I don't really know kind of what the end game. The end game is for him to get back. I know he met with Adam Silver over the last week, and I know Silver says he's like, I don't believe that he's anti-Semitic at all. But the question is, what does the league want to do with this? And Jaylen Brown brought up a good point. There's a difference, as he said, in terms of the CBA between you tweeting what you think and putting a link. And what does this mean in terms of our collective bargaining moving forward? And what is the punishment moving forward? Because they're in uncharted territory of they've never dealt with this. So can the NBA impose the punishment that they want right now, or does that contradict the CBA? And where does this go? Do they, does this end up going to court, or do they try to just make amends and move forward and move on? There is a lot of questions moving on with this, and there's a lot of questions after this season gets done in terms of social media policies and media policies that they're going to have to figure out and go and figure out from there. The only person that I would probably say I don't understand in this whole situation was LeBron's comments in regards to Kyrie Irving. For someone that's not in that locker room, for someone that's not close to the situation happening at hand, I thought it was kind of in poor taste for him to make his comment. I think the best thing he could have said is, look, I'm not in that locker room. I'm not around this guy. I'm not in that organization. That's up to them and Adam to make the best decision, what he thinks is best for our brand and for our league. I have no race, no dog in this race.
What did he say? I'm aware of that. What did he say?
Basically, to sum it up, he was like, I think it was stupid. I think that he shouldn't have said all this, all these different things. I'm like, you're putting yourself in a situation that you don't need to be in. Yes, you're the most, known basketball player probably on the planet Earth right now. But don't put yourself in a situation that you don't have to put yourself in, because the media is just going to keep coming back and keep asking you for your response, and you're not in Brooklyn every day. That's a Kyrie Irving, Joseph Tassi, Sean Marks, Adam Silver situation. And look, the headquarters of the NBA is in New York. Let them deal with it there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I do think someone like LeBron deserves his opinion as well. I think Kyrie deserves his opinion, as uneducated and as stupid as it is. I think they should have it. But you're right. I think it's going to be between the Players Association and the league to kind of figure out exactly what's going to happen there. All right, let's move on. College hoops predictions. One of the great things about the end of the World Series is that college hoops is coming up. They played on an aircraft carrier, Gonzaga and Michigan State this past weekend. Great game to watch. Kind of weird as far as hitting a three-point shot. But let's give our final four picks since we are there. Fish, you want to go first?
North Carolina, Houston, Baylor, and UCLA. Baylor's the most physical college. Remember last year? It's hard to even get in the key on those guys. They're the most physical college basketball team I've ever seen. You're part of the woods, North Carolina. It goes back to Dean Smith until the present. They always put someone. What's the one? I can't pronounce the kid's name. He could have gone pro, but he didn't. Loaded.
Yeah.
That's it. You want to find out for? Yeah.
Go for it, Harline. What do you got?
So I'll say, because it all depends on how the brackets are set up. So this is early. Arkansas, UCLA. I'll take North Carolina, and I'll go Gonzaga just because they get a lot of love for some random reason. But I'll go with that. But, look, this might be – I'll phrase it this way. This might be Gonzaga's last shot, because if they ended up moving to that Big 12, it's a lot harder than that WAC.
Yep, that's true. All right. Here are my four picks. I'm going with Kentucky to win it all. I got the Tar Heels in there. I have Gonzaga in there as well. But here's my surprise pick. I got the Indiana Hoosiers. Coach Mike Woodson. He played under Bobby Knight. I think he's got them in a position. And their star forward, Trace Jackson Davis, he actually came back for another year for this. So I'm I'm actually going with him. What I love about this is that, I still think, with this portal, you're going to have teams like, for instance, I wouldn't be surprised if Houston got in. Eastern Michigan almost beat Michigan the other day. It was actually a really good game. Wyoming's supposed to be a good team. My Friars, Providence College, they could do something. Nobody's picking them because they lost 5 of their starters from last year, and they filled 5 more from the portal. Cooley's a great coach. Is he going to do it again? He could. UConn is a great team. Michigan State, they're not going to finish in the top 10, but what they've done with what Izzo did with their schedule, they play about 10 top 10 teams in their non-conference schedule. And they're going to be, I think, a tough team. They could be 17 and 12 and get into the conference and do something that way. So those are my picks.
Strong. Michigan State's always a team. That's the hard part about Michigan State. You never know. They have some seasons where they sneak up on people and they make the Final Four. And I know people forget, just about 3 years ago, they were in the Final Four where they played Texas Tech, and try to get on that last-second run and just couldn't hit it. What's the beautiful thing about what's going on now? And I'll say this about the NCAA, whether it's basketball or more so basketball than football, but it's getting there. We are going to regionalist sports, meaning, we're saying that Gonzaga, who plays all the way in the Pacific Northwest, is going to now be in the Big 12, which has been predominantly more, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. And then we're talking about, in terms of football, UCLA going to play back east. It's just amazing that now it used to be so based on regions, and now it's kind of, you play who you want to now. And then nothing's up there. You're going to pay for the package. You're going to see whatever team you want to see.
National conferences. All right. Later in the show, Hardline is going to have his March Madness prop bets as well. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And before we jump into anything else, it's time for Fish's favorite memes of the week. What do you got this week, buddy?
I'm enduring. This is the worst season I could ever remember. 47 years watching the Raiders Hardline. You weren't even born when I first started watching the Raiders. And this is the worst I could ever imagine. It's so depressing and frustrating. But I found a picture of the Raiders think tank, Daily, going into this Colts game, knowing they're going to, go up against high school coaches. This is the Raiders coaches room right here.
Nice hairdo.
That guy's going, hey, Hardline, you got to play for me? What's you over on UCLA, Arizona? All right, and then on the Raider theme, sorry, Gabe, check this. This is great. Picture of Bill Clinton says 17-point lead. Yeah, and then on Monica Lewinsky, it says Raiders, so 17-point lead and blow it. Get that. All right, we talked about last week about what's your favorite sporting event, the loudest sporting event. We talked about great announcing teams from, Pat Summerall, Tom Brookshire, Madden, Summerall, baseball, great baseball, Tony Kubek and Joe Garagiola. This is the longest and most announcing team in the history. You can call it sports. Remember these guys, Daily? Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, all right? They did every major wrestling thing for like 40 years, and they brought such a live, vigorous broadcast. Heenan would get out of his chair and go in the ring and start fighting guys. It's all picture like that. So I went for Gorilla Monsoon. Look, some of my family shows up at chess events. Gorilla Monsoon to the actual, look at this guy.
He could go shirtless in the winter.
Come on. Yeah, exactly. Wow, look at those shoes he's wearing. Look, wow. Is there a manscaping tool that is in front of that guy? Wow.
I think there's got to be. I just think nature or God is really cruel when they can put hair all over a man's body from his neck down and not on the top of his head. Come on. That's just cruel.
Well, they say when you get older, Hardline, that you grow more hair in your nose and your ear and your ears, and you lose it on top of your head. So
yeah, I can remember the first time that I must have been in my 40s or 50s, and I remember Terry going, "Oh, you got that old man hair now coming out of your ears." So she stayed with me, so that's a good sign. But yeah, it does happen.
Vicky got me a Christmas present. It was one of those nose things,
Yeah. Hardline, it's coming, buddy. All right, folks, we are Daily
You're
Fish. We
in.
talk sports, entertainment, politics, everything in between, just like you do. No woke, no extreme, no social justice cops here. You got a problem with us? Let us know. Questions, comments, or even a factual challenge of us. Email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. All right, now it's time for our schmuck of the week. Who do you got, Fish? Who's been schmucky?
I'm making a New Year's end of resolution to be nice on people. So last week we showed all these great tweets, these actual newspaper articles. These are actual newspaper headlines. So first one, then we'll go hardline to whatever. I'll call you out. Check this out. You got to read this, listening audience. State population to double by 2040. Babies to blame. That's in Sacramento Bee. State population to double by 2040. Babies to blame. All right, you want to take this to the next one, Daily? Because it's insane. All right.
All right. Woman in sumo wrestling suit assaulted her ex-girlfriend in a gay pub after she waved at a man dressed as a Snickers bar.
What the hell?
That makes sense.
That's the London Post. I mean, that's crazy. All right, you could have this one, Hardline. I can't figure this one out.
Sorry, I can't read the first word.
Prisoner
Serving 2,000 years sentence could face more time.
Wow, that's breaking news. I got this one. All right, this is from the San Francisco Chronicle. Tiger Woods plays with his own balls, Nike says. John's dog was riding for the Sacramento Bee.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Daly, you can have this one. Daly, you go, baby.
All right.
This is all you.
This has got you and me written all over it. Man eats underwear to beat breathalyzer.
Look at this guy's face. Talk about that's Stettler, Pennsylvania. Talk about a pedophile. And then you know what, buddy? Hard sign. You got a little zing to you. Read this one. This is the last one.
Locked in loony bin for sex with Pop-Tart. What the? Well, I guess it's feeling, huh?
The question is, was the Pop-Tart toasted first?
I did some research. That actually happened. A guy tried to have sex with a Pop-Tart, so you could do the visuals. I just want to know if it was a regular Pop-Tart or it has a frosting on it. That's what I want to know. That's my schmuck newspaper articles. Are you kidding me? Wow.
Oh my God. That's great stuff. All right. So now we're going to find out who's got the swag. Who are we going to be toasting this week, Fish?
We're toasting a 100-year-old man. Okay. This is Giacomo Jack Poma, whose daughter truly loves him because she took him to see some strippers to celebrate his century on Earth. He recently celebrated 100 trips around the sun, and the more special occasion, his daughter Dina took her to a Dallas Gentlemen's Club, The Lodge. So check him out there, and look at him with these girls over here, Hardline, okay? The girls said he was a great tipper. No shit. Look at this guy. He's 100 years old. He said, quote, if I'm going to go out and my ticker goes out, I'm going out with my face in a sludge of breath. He's teaching $100 Oklahoma. That's my swag, big time swag. What do you guys think? Raise your toast to this guy.
That's great.
That's the best way too.
All right, and now we are going to toast him we're going to toast Giacomo with our drink of the week. What are we sipping this week, Fish?
Well, no pun intended, but a hot toddy, because he had his face in hot toddies. It's cool. Daily text this morning said it's 31 degrees in Carolina. We've been dealing with some coolness here. Besides this is a Hardline's backdrop in Las Vegas. Hot toddy, real simple. Very, very simple. You can put brandy, whiskey. You put some honey in there, a little sugar. Boom.
It's great if you're not feeling good or you think you got a cold coming on. Make yourself a hot toddy. Absolutely. Good one, Fish. All right. And what's that?
Jack Coma, baby. I love it.
Jack Coma. Okay. So our Daily Fish Drink of the Week is sponsored by Shucks Tavern in Vegas. Great seafood and drinks in 2 locations. Head to the Shucks Tavern on North Durango on the northwest side of town, where fish is overnight. All you got to do is say Daily Fish Podcast. You get a free drink. Do it the next day, a free appetizer. That's Shucks Tavern. Check out Shucks Tavern on Facebook. And again, this is Daily Fish. We are on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can subscribe there. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. Watch us on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check out Daily Fish on YouTube and Wingding TV and also Hey Vegas TV. And you can check out all of our posts throughout the week as we give you plenty of news and updates on everything that's going on in the sports world and everything that's going on with our show. And that is on Facebook and also on Twitter. All right, now it's time for some bets with the Daily Fish Hardline. Again, he is John Hardison. He has the podcast, The Cost of Winning, focusing on fantasy sports and sports betting. He's on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, but he's with us every week. All right, we teased this earlier, Hardline, your college hoop prop bets, so spill them. Who you saying people should actually bet on in the long range?
So a lot of times, the previous one, at least one of the previous Final Four teams usually finds a way to make it back and wins the year afterwards. Last year was Kansas. We all picked Kansas. I thought Kansas was really good. Thought Kansas would win it in the year. It got postponed in 2020. Fortunately, it didn't. Baylor came the year before that, after that, and then took it from there. I think the Tar Heels probably have the best chance to go back this year and win it all. Solid team. Great for Herbert Davis in his first year being at the helm, taking over for Roy Williams. There was some questions. Would he be able to sustain the program and hold him at such a high caliber? And he did a magnificent job last year. With that being said, I probably would bet on them as UNC is heavy favorite at plus 1,200. The next team that I really like after that is Arkansas. For some reason, they don't get a lot of love, but they're a solid program. They've been in the Elite Eight not last year, but 2 years before that, 2 years in a row. I think that they're a solid program. I would go with Arkansas as well. And then to round it off would be UCLA. UCLA is a magnificent team. Unfortunately, it fell to Gonzaga. That was one of the issues that they had kind of going forward, that back and forth game with the big shots at the end. I think that they could run the gambit as well. Again, it all depends on who gets put in what bracket or what side of the bracket and where it goes, and that makes a huge difference.
All righty, sounds good. All right, let's go to Monday Night Football. The Eagles are still undefeated. They got the Commanders. What are you looking at that?
You know what? Here's the thing. It's easy to write the Commanders off, and I know they're a 10.5-point underdog to the Eagles. I'm going to hedge, and I'm going to say the Eagles will win on money line. It's minus 550, but it's a divisional game. And regardless of how bad teams are, it's a different type of game when it's a divisional rival that you have. Do I think that the Commanders will beat them? No, but do I think they might keep within that 10.5-point margin? It's possible. It's hard to bet against Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Smith and Goddard, but at the same time, at some point the wheels are going to fall off. I don't think that this is a team that's going to go undefeated throughout the regular season. I think at some point they're going to get a loss for their confidence, and I know a lot of people don't like this. I think it's better to lose early and to build back up than it is to lose late and go a little bit into panic mode.
Makes sense.
Interesting, because if I had to pick right now who I think the best team in the National Football League is, and when they get healthy, it's the Baltimore Ravens. That they are going to be on bottom playing the Panthers this weekend, a 12.5-point favorite. Give it to us.
So it's come out today that P.J. Walker won't be the starting quarterback. He has a high ankle sprain for Sunday's game. Again, this is early on. We don't know necessarily moving forward if anything's going to change, like we saw with the Matt Ryan situation or with Josh Allen last week, where we were told they were going to be out even leading up till Friday, and then there was a switcheroo kind of going forward. But you look, Butthead Baker is taking over at the helm. We're going to see kind of what he's able to do with this team. I don't think there's much to this team. I don't think it's going to go really much anywhere. I don't think they have an answer for Lamar Jackson. I don't think they have an answer if Mark Andrews comes back. I think that Baltimore wins this game resoundingly, and I think they cover the 12.5.
All right. Also, next Sunday, a game that we never thought would be that interesting, but the Lions and the Giants, and the fact they're both coming off some pretty interesting wins as well. So what are you picking there?
Yeah. So, look, the Lions are on a 2-game win streak, especially 2 games in their division. They beat Green Bay, which a lot of people didn't think that they would beat them. Look, we told all of our fans to take the Lions last week, plus 3.5, and they covered. Again, they won against the Chicago Bears this year, the same Bears that beat the San Francisco 49ers, who are looking really good this year because they're starting to get healthy right now. I think that the Giants are a very good team right now. They're sitting in the wild card spot, or is still in the hunt right now. Nothing's over and done with, especially because they're keeping pace with Dallas. And you know what? As funny as it is, Detroit's still in the wild card hunt as well. I just saw the visual yesterday that they're still in the hunt. But I think the Giants get the edge. I don't think Detroit has an answer for how good the Giants' running game is. I think a lot of people haven't really looked at how good the Giants' running game is this year because they're top 5 in rushing the ball. I think that the Giants get the win.
I got a script, but I got 2 games. Give me a money line real quick. Green Bay and Tennessee, the Thursday night game, and give me the over/unders 47 on Dallas and Minnesota. Go. Give me a gut feeling on Green Bay, Tennessee. Green, huge game.
Okay, so gut feeling Green Bay, Tennessee wins. I don't think that, even though we saw the best game we've seen for the Packers all season last Sunday, I don't think that they're going to get over on Tennessee. I think Tennessee gets the win. In terms of Dallas and Minnesota, I think that it's going to go over. I mean, look, both of them have great receivers, high-powered offenses. And as crazy as this sounds, I think that Dallas looked better on Sunday without Ezekiel Elliott than they have the rest of the season with him.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about some fantasy picks. People are going to want to be putting their teams together as we're getting towards the end of the season, and they're probably having some close competition. So any fantasy picks you can tell people to maybe go after that they don't have that they should be looking at?
Yeah, so if you're making your push towards the playoffs, Christian Watson, definitely from what we saw, that's probably the best receiver that Aaron Rodgers has right now in Green Bay. He's going to start getting a ton of targets. They're going to pepper him, especially if Allen Lazard stays out. I don't know the extent of his injury right now, if he's going to be due back Thursday or not. I know it's a short week for him, so they might keep him out again. So definitely Christian Watson. In terms of if you need a tight end, which tight end play is always difficult, Foster Moreau for the Raiders. With Hunter Renfrow out, Darren Waller out right now, it's really coming between Foster Moreau and Devontae Adams and getting those touches. And then if you also need another wide receiver, Tooney from Kansas City. What a great game that he had on Sunday. I'm going to assume that they're going to start giving him more balls, especially if Juju Smith-Schuster can't play this week because he's in concussion protocol.
TCU Baylor, college football, man. Some teams only have 3 games left. Where'd it go? TCU Baylor, what do you got? Over 56.5.
Yeah, you know what? They actually play each other relatively close. They tend to put up good numbers on this game. I think it's going to be real close on that line, but I tend to go over just in case something of a fluke tends to happen. I think they'll go over to 56.5. TCU is the real deal. But look, we talked about it last week, Fish. I said Texas would cover +7, and they covered. They didn't win, but they got people some money.
All right, USC, UCLA, the battle for Southern California. What do you got?
This is a huge game. I mean, normally we don't really talk about this being a huge game, but the fact that Oregon lost last week to Washington in that last 5-10 minute rally, it makes a big difference. I like the over in this game. I don't like the line of -2.5 for USC. That's a real dicey line, especially if you look at how they've played each other in the past. This game has real big implications. I don't know what their run game is going to look like at USC because Dye is out because of the leg injury that he suffered last Saturday. So I'm telling everybody to fade taking the line and go ahead and take the over.
Georgia Tech, Carolina. Talk to me.
So I watched North Carolina last Saturday. I like Drake May. He's a dark horse candidate for the Heisman right now. I don't think that he's going to win, but he's definitely helping improve his stock in terms of maybe being one of those top 6 quarterbacks in the draft this year. I got to believe that he's going to come out of UNC. It doesn't really make any sense for him to stay. With that being said, and I think he's better than Hal. I like UNC. I like the over in this game. I do think that Georgia Tech covers the 20.5. They play each other real close. I mean, a lot of people would think you look at Georgia Tech and it's a team that you write off. They haven't been that great this year, but some teams just got some people's numbers, and Georgia Tech's got that number to keep it close with UNC.
All right. Let's go back to Little Pros. Last man standing over at Chuck's Tavern, which we are out of now. Fish, how many people are left in that?
Everyone won. All 9 people won. 5 people had the Giants. Wow. Wow. 1 had Tennessee, 2 had Kansas City, and someone else had San Francisco, which I thought was I wouldn't have touched that game against the Chargers, but 9 alive. All
right. Well, we'll follow in whoever is going to win, and we'll bring them on the show. And folks, that is the Daily Fish Hardline. And again, John Hardison with the Cost of Winning podcast. You can find him here with us every week. He's also on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast. Hardline, I know you're going to stick around. We got more controversy coming up. Hey, folks, get a grip on your golf game with the revolutionary new golf glove called the One Glove. Long drive competitors are using it. You get a better feel for the grip. Plus, you don't have to take it off when you're chipping and putting. You can wash it. It lasts 3 times longer than a regular glove. Plus, women golfers love it because they can wear their rings and it won't hurt their nails. All you got to do is go to theonegolfglove.com and put in the code DailyFish. You get a deal. That's onegolfglove.com, promo code DailyFish. All right, let's turn to a little political news here. Boy, what a weekend. Let me ask you kind of the overall question first. Fish, I'll go with you first. Did we preserve democracy with the votes?
Ask Fox, they'll say, they prevailed. Ask CNN, they'll say the blue prevailed. I would just love to see people get I'll tell you one thing that I took out of this. I put Dr. Oz down for being probably incompetent as Herschel Walker. He's the only guy I know. He called John Fetterman up and congratulated him like they used to do in the old days when they concede. I like that. That shows that state, in the state of Pennsylvania, has people that can actually work together. I don't think anything works together. All you hear now is Republicans blaming Trump because most people he endorsed didn't make it. But then the Trump people are blaming McConnell, and have we preserved democracy? I'll tell you what preserves democracy: beating inflation, getting gas prices down, getting the economy going, and getting everyone on the same agenda.
Yeah. Tim Ryan, who was the Democratic senatorial candidate, he lost to J.D. Vance, and he called him, and he actually conceded publicly because he says that's what you do. So you had another one that actually did. So that was Ohio as well as Pennsylvania. Hardline, what was your take on it?
You know what? I think I never thought it was really in jeopardy. I just think, look, we're in the time of everybody has to be right? Like we said, this red wave that was supposed to be coming in, people pointing fingers, people blaming. And look, I was listening to the radio last night, and there's a lot of questions in terms of the Republican Party, where it moves forward. If Trump decides to run, what does this mean? DeSantis not polling well across the nation, but he polls really well in Florida. There's a lot of questions moving forward. I think that the biggest issues, as Fish said, is the economy, inflation, abortion rights. And I think that there's a lot of things that people made decisions for people for. And I think that there's a lot of people that came out and said, look, I'm not okay with that. And even though maybe I don't like this person necessarily, I do think that maybe have my best interest in these 3 avenues compared to everything else.
My gut tells me I still think the Republicans are going to hold the House or take the House. I think they're going to be up maybe about 3 seats. But it looks like there's a good chance that the Democrats are going to be maybe 52-48 or 51-49. which means they don't need Kamala Harris to be breaking the ties anymore. So I do think it's that. I do think, to me, I think women and young people came out and made the difference. I think David Hogg, the kid who was involved in the Parkland shooting and who's just been a force. I think he got a lot of kids that were 18 years old out to vote, and I think that was the turning point of everything there. I mean, you just didn't get them in all the polling that came out, and so I was a little surprised when we talked last week. I thought I really wasn't certain, but I had a feeling that it might swing a little bit more blue than what they were expecting. So wasn't really surprised. So let me ask you, in your state, or my former state in Nevada, right now you're going to be bringing in a Republican governor who was the former sheriff there, Joe Lombardo. He beat Steve Sisolak, and then Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. She's going to stay on as a Democratic senator there. Tell me your thoughts on either why or how do you feel about that, Fish? Go first.
I would have predicted both happening. Sisolak pissed a lot of people off in my industry, the bar industry, when he kept the casinos open and closed the bars and restaurants down, saying the bars and restaurants are purveyors of COVID. But no, 5,000 people walking on the casino floor isn't. But he had the culinary union and he took Clark County. What Lombardo did was took everywhere else. And I was shocked because most of, hardline, 3.7 million people live in our state and 2.5 million live in Clark County. So, look, I wasn't shocked at that. I wasn't shocked at Masto beating Laxalt at all. Hardline?
So Sisolak losing wasn't a surprise to me. We talked about this previously. From all the signs that said sacked Sisolak over the last couple of years to a lot of people saying the way in which he handled COVID in terms of the bars, there were a lot of people that were really upset with the way in which he did things. And look, I get it. It was unprecedented times. But I knew that he had a real uphill battle, even as the incumbent in that position. Cortez Masto, I mean, it was close. It wasn't like she blew him away. I mean, Laxalt kept it real close in terms of that. And so, look, she's got, even though she won the war in terms she won the battle, but, she still got the war ahead of her. There's a lot of things that maybe she's got to tap into on the other side where she's got to figure out how to win some more of those votes. In terms of Laxalt, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he finds something else or maybe he reruns again later on. I mean, the fact that he kept it that close, who really knows? But in our state, I'm not really surprised how it went. I'm more interested, and you asked me before, like, what did I think about Beto O'Rourke? I didn't think he was going to beat Greg Abbott. I didn't think that Marco Rubio would lose. I didn't think that Ron DeSantis would lose. The one that's really interesting to me is just the race in Arizona and between I think it's Hobbs and Kerry Lake, and seeing kind of how that's going, because it's still, I don't think is it done yet? Did they finish counting it, or are they still trying to figure out everything with that?
Not yet. Nope.
Yeah.
Still got a couple of days. Fish, go ahead. You had
done by next month. I got addendums. One, you just said that Masto did not blow away Laxalt, right? You can't. That's ever gone. Okay, ever. Come on, goddamn computer. Did it go on? My computer.
Yeah, we got it.
There you go. That's the only one that got played.
I can see you right there. Yeah.
Does Raphael in Georgia? Does Raphael Warnock not look like the actor J.B. Smoove that's on Curb Your Enthusiasm and all those Caesars Entertainment commercials?
Yeah, he does.
Man,
he does.
It's amazing. I thought, oh my God, and that's a con. I cannot wait. December 6th. I got a question for Daly. December 6th is that run up. Daly, was there any race that surprised you throughout the country? That of the outcome? Was there an outcome of the race that surprised you?
There was one in California, Katie Porter, who was a Democratic House. She's a representative. She's great. I thought she would blow them away. I think she won. She barely won. I think the Kerry Lake one. I thought Kerry Lake, based on all the stuff, and Bill Clinton winning over.
Stop saying blowing them away.
Kerry Lake. I actually thought Kerry Lake was going to win by a lot. I was surprised that Arizona didn't give it to her. What was interesting to me, and I just want to come back to the governor's race in Nevada, was the fact that, to me, Joe Lombardo counteracted what Trump said as far as that the 2020 election was thrown. And I think that helped him in many ways, because I think everything you said about what was going on with Sisolak, that a lot of people, and it's rare that you're going to have somebody that's going to win more than 2 terms as a governor in a state. People are just going to be pissed off at you. But I think that's what helped Lombardo, was that a lot of people came over to his side because, he's not an election denier. So, and he's also a law and order guy. So there's a lot of states, especially purple and red states, that are looking for law and order. Look at the state of New York. State of New York and Long Island. I mean, that's a blue state. There were 5 districts along Long Island that all went Republican. So that was another surprise to me in seeing that. But for the most part, I'm not surprised. I heard a lot from women and young people that I didn't think a lot of people were paying attention to. And I think that, if I'm going to go back to anything, it was the Roe v. Wade overturn. I think that was the key to everything right there. If you're going to pick, there's a lot of other.
I'm ignorant to both you guys. Was it a high voter turnout? I went on election day, and I was in and out in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So
for an off presidential election year, it was a very high turnout.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
It was. I with Lombardo, and I'll just put it this way. I think you're right in terms of the Trump thing. I do know that Trump was saying, I know they had some controversies in him talking about pulling his endorsement of Lombardo. In terms of him Lombardo not saying he was a great president or a great guy, or somewhere along the lines of that. But I do wish Lombardo the best. Do I think that he's going to win moving forward? I really don't think that he's going to get a second term. I think that it was just a situation of, I dislike this guy this much, so much that I'm forced to vote for you. But I don't think that Lombardo is going to get past this after this first term, unless he does something miraculous. I don't think so. And I'll put it this way, huh?
I'm sorry. Trump's going to announce tomorrow from Mar-a-Lago that he's going to run in 2024. Yeah. That's the breaking. We broke the breaking news on Daily Fish that Jeff Saturday was the coach.
Yeah.
And everyone looked at him. What? Get text. I'm hearing all the tea leaves say that Donald Trump's going to announce he's running, and get ready for all that media shit show and stuff like that.
Yeah. So let me just give a goodbye to everybody. We're Daily Fish coming from Vegas, Myrtle Beach. You can watch us on Facebook at daily.fish.5. We're also on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel, Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check us out on YouTube. We're also on Wingding TV, Hey Vegas TV. We are on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. And you can use all those channels to hear our interviews as well. Email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. Okay, we got about a minute left. So my question to you both is Trump done? Even though he's announcing for presidency? Is he done?
No. I think that there are some people that are very, very strong-willed with him. And look, there's a lot of people that even though they'll say it to your face that they think he is, they'll still vote for him behind closed doors. No, I don't think he's done.
Fish, what do you think?
Well, every pundit when the election ended, I'll make this real quick, said that there's going to be 27 indictments on this guy. And still is holding over him. Yet these same pundits said he's running for president, and who's he going to face if he beats out DeSantis? So I don't know what to believe anymore. I can't listen to the news anymore. We talk about this time. Can't do it.
Yeah. I think Trump's on the backside.
What do you think?
I think the fact that he lost so many of those races, really J.D. Vance was the only one. There might have been one others in there, but he lost so many of them. I think he's on the downside, and you're starting to hear Republicans coming out and saying, "Hey, you need to step back."
Republicans are really rallying around DeSantis because he was Dade County in Miami, which no Republican's ever done that. He swept that state in every district, and what he is a really educated Republican. Is going to stop Twitter and not make fun of people. So I don't know. Who knows? Who's going to?
All I'm going to say.
30 seconds.
Yep.
All I'm going to say is this. I'll leave it at this. This sounds just like 2016 again, where everybody wrote him off, and look what happened.
Good point.
Well, in 20 seconds, yes or no, is Biden running again, guys?
More than likely, yeah.
I'm going to say no now. I'm going to say no because I think Trump's more out of it, and I think that's why. And I don't think Biden's going to run again. He's going to be well into his 80s now, and they're going to try to find somebody over the next couple of years to replace him. Maybe Mayor Pete.